Hello and welcome to the Main Africa podcast. I'm your host Kemeshi Samuel, and in the studio here with us today we have Ejide Akinbiyi. Ejide is co-founder and CEO at MaterialsPro. Thank you for doing this with us, Ejide.
Thank you, Samuel. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. And apologies again for the timing conflict. I'm really sorry. So yes, let's get into it. This first question I asked to guest on the show to see if the environment they grew up in, and I know for you, okay, let me not even go towards that area, but it's to see if the environment they grew up in shaped their current trajectory as an entrepreneur or as a founder. So would you say you grew up in an entrepreneurial background where either one of your parents entrepreneurial or people around you always trying to fix things or build businesses? Just let's know what it was like growing up.
Yeah, so I would say my growing up, my background definitely had a direct impact on my journey being an entrepreneur today. So both parents were entrepreneurs.
Oh wow!
Yeah, both parents were entrepreneurs. Yeah. I was introduced to business at a very young age. As early as 10, I already had a small business that I was doing. Yeah. So interestingly, I would say I was 10.
Yeah.
I can recall vividly when I had some few money on me. We go out and somebody give you money.
Yes.
And mom would say, "Let me have that money," and I was very reluctant. I didn't want to give her that money. And luckily, I was at a store that day, and some guys from Calgary were around, and I didn't want to give her the money. And she said, "Okay, why don't you just bring the money? Let me maybe buy some stuff, and you can just have a small space where you can sell these things." And I was excited. Yeah. That made sense, right? And I got that we bought some sweets, and that's buttermint, malta sweet, treble, and tom. I can still remember that very well.
Buttermint is actually one of my favorites.
Yeah, so we had to count how many quantity we had in the bag, what I would do in terms of expenses. We had a small island that we can put it in for people. Yeah. And she said, "Okay, so this is the cost. This is what you expend. Your expenses will be like. So let's sell at this price so that I can make this more money."
Yeah.
And I got very excited. And it was very interesting because after that, I like to show up at the store. Because now there's something taking me there. Yes, and I got a bit more involved in the business. Then I was 10.
Right.
But at the time after secondary school, moving to university, I moved along with my dad a lot, and he had a store on the island. Yeah. Kakawa, he had a bookstore and an office supply store. Yeah. But I was more interested in the office supply store.
All right.
But the bookstore was a no-brainer. I had a lot of books to pick from. So you have books that you can just read. But office supply store, the drill was that the staffs then move out to look for customers. Yes. Then I think permanently banks, because I think Island was more predominantly for financial institution. So we had a lot of banks headquarters, we had other asset management companies and stockbroking firms around. So when I got to university, it was a no-brainer. I was studying marketing. So I wanted to read law.
Right. Because I was going to ask if what you read in school was what you always wanted to read. Because I find that, and this is true for almost everyone, at some point in time, we would say we'll be this when we grow up, right? When we're older. And then we get to another stage, it changes. And then it changes. For me, it probably changed like 12 times. At some point, I wanted to become an archaeologist.
Okay.
But look at what I'm doing here today.
Yeah,
so, what shaped your wanting to read law and eventually go into marketing?
Okay, so I would say, maybe I just started this up. I was studying marketing. My dad prepped me very well that you study marketing, you should be out on the field. And that got very exciting. So as early as when I was in 100 level, going to 200 level, there was ASU strike. So I was at the store for about 3 months, and I was just observing what the other guys were doing, people that go out. And I told him, I think I'm ready, I can do it, and I do it now. So just give me like a script on this is what you say when you get there, this is how you behave. And I started going out. So I was managing the VI access. So Ademola Tokumbo, Oijola Emi, and some part of Idowutilo had some of the what I call new generation banks then, the GT Bank, City Express Bank, and the rest. And I got my first client when I was 19, City Express Bank. I recall very well that the woman was so impressed when she saw me. I'm not sure I had the best speech, but I think she was just impressed that a young lady that come, just trying to, passionate about that business. Right. And she said, "Guys, this lady, any office supplies that we have, just give it to her, let us start doing that." And before I left school, I had like 6 or 7 other customers. Standard Trust Bank then, Metropolitan Bank, Foundry Trust Bank, Rich Trust. I had a number of customers in my portfolio then, and I think that was my beginning of my being structured business. And I could find 2 other business before MaterialsPro. Yes, and after a lot of petty trading.
Right.
So at every point in time that I see an opportunity and I see this is going to bring money.
Yes.
I'm already involved.
So after the university, give us a brief on like previous professional experience before moving on to found these two other businesses you mentioned and then MaterialsPro.
Okay. So after university, I studied marketing in university.
Right.
I had a second degree, MSc marketing too, then a third degree actually. Third degree actually. But after university, I think my first work was at Access Bank Training School, but I didn't work with them eventually because I was already doing my master's. Maybe I finished university, I put in for master's. My intention was to tidy up the master before I even go into the labor market. But along the line, the same thing, ASU strike.
Yes.
ASU strike, I was at home for like 2 months and I said, no, this is not going to work.
For timing's sake, this was around what time?
Oh, what time? That was
Masters,
2007.
Oh, that's okay.
2007.
Right,
So I moved on. I'm looking for a job and I got Access Bank and just like 2 months into Access Bank Training School was 4 months, Banking School of Excellence.
Right.
You know, like resume school, like I know this is not going to work. This is not going to work. What kind of witchcraft? What kind of witchcraft is this? So I was trying to juggle it. Then a friend called me and said, "Yeah, if you're looking for something that can help you match this work and your schooling, maybe you should just try UBA. There's this department in UBA. It's called Customer Interaction Center. You can have like shifts. You can work afternoon. Then they have like it was running 24 hours. It was more like a call center. And I thought, okay, I think it sounds interesting. At least I don't have to lose any of the two. So I moved to UBA, and that was where I started my career from. Then afterwards, I moved to Oceanic Bank, what we now call Eco Bank. Yes, and during the merger. I was an head office staff, so we all know that that's actually going to be like a break.
Yes.
And that time, I recall that I was moved to the branch around 2011, and I had a PM that told us to review a book. Normally you review a book and you come to talk about it at a meeting, and just gave us a couple of books. And I saw one, Who Moved My Cheese. I have the book at home. My dad had given me one. I didn't read it, so I said, okay, maybe I can read this one. At least I have this one at home. And I took it home, and reading that book. I think the book was centered around change.
Right.
But now, when you read some books, it just resonates with you. It was more like I was just saying, like, okay, there's a change going on in the system. There's an organizational change going on in the system, and this may impact me very soon. So what do I do if it does? And I started thinking, and I found out somewhere that sometimes when people are going for a career break, you try to go back to school. And I said, okay, maybe I should go back to school. And luckily for me, my grade at master's was a PhD grade. So I just looked around, okay, so maybe I just pick a PhD. And that's because I wanted to read law. And I said something.
You did mention
my dad had always wanted us to be professionals. He likes title. So he just wants you to have title and front of your name. So he said he wants to be called daddy lawyer, daddy doctor, daddy engineer. Like, what's this for? So that also resonates. Okay, I said maybe this can give me a title and at least make him happy. Because he wasn't happy when I switched that time. And I switched because it took me to someone, my aunt. And I saw my aunt and I just like, as a young girl, you see someone, I just like the lifestyle of that person. And I recall asking him, what did she study in school? And he said economics. And the day he told me, he told me, this is no way. I like this person, I want to be like this person, and I'd rather go into that line. I put in for economics, but I was giving marketing, but I still love marketing because it was so close to what she was doing. And that's how I put in for PhD, I had to do the interview, but nothing happened, actually. Interestingly, they didn't ask me to go. So I had to defer the admission, I just left it there. And like, it was like 9 months after, yes, it happened. And I was so prepared. Right? I was so prepared. I had my school fees, I had everything prepared because I wanted to move. But they didn't allow me to move there, so I was still working. So when that time came, I just took a break and I went back to school. And I did that for a while before eventually I now had to join Jumia. I joined Jumia 2015, and that's where I spent most of my time. I spent about 7 years in Jumia before I now go for the MaterialsPro.
You know what is interesting is I've had 2 guests on the show who were part of the founding team at Jumia. Yes. I don't want to mention names, but the founding story of Jumia is a very interesting one. But tell us about how the idea for MaterialsPro came to be.
Okay, so MaterialsPro came from a personal pain point. In 2021, my family now, myself and my husband wanted to have our first project. We had the land, we wanted to build. So it was one managing, I wasn't even involved. So by the time he wasn't around, and he asked me to just monitor the guys. And I recall that I was at the site. he had a BOQ, and before we even started,
Okay.
2 months after getting the BOQ, when we decided to start the project,
Yeah.
the price had already gone up about 40%.
Wow.
And yeah, I wasn't really bothered
Yeah.
then. But when I now had to join him I was joining him at the site to just supervise what's happening 1 or 2 times, I just saw firsthand what was happening at the site.
Yeah.
The guys that bring the materials don't bring it at the right time. The contractor will not be at the site, struggling multiple markets.
Yes.
It's at this market, always on phone calls, trying to get materials to the site. And you keep bringing in your invoices. So the price have changed. We got this price like 3 weeks ago. This is the new price now. And I'm like, we have a budget for this thing. It's not going to work. We can't continue like this. But it was almost as if there was nothing we could do at that
Yes,
time.
exactly.
So I tried to tell him, okay, why don't you just stockpile all the materials so that we don't have to,
Okay.
we don't have to continue to change prices. But I found that we don't have the space to put all the materials. And now it got more annoying and frustrating when I realized that we had to start paying workers even when they don't work. Because they collect money per day.
Yes.
So even if the materials are not there, you still have to pay those workers.
Really? It works like
Yes,
that?
that's the way it works. So
idea.
if you have good workers for 3 days, you have to pay them for that 3 days. If not, they leave.
Yeah.
And if they leave, getting them to come back will be difficult because you have already rented some other items that you use at that time. So I was a bit disturbed. I didn't like the idea.
Yeah.
And that was the phase of the project because we had divided into different phases.
Yes.
So at that time, we wanted to do the second phase, and I was involved again. I said, okay, I started to look at it from my procurement lens because at Jumia, I was managing the offline markets, B2B clients. So we had big corporates that we manage our procurement.
Yes.
So I understand how procurement works a bit. So I thought, no, we can't do this. We can't continue to do this.
Yeah.
The procurement practically messed us up. The major changes that we have in course was because we couldn't get the materials at the right time. So we need to figure this out. So I had a checklist of what I wanted, and I was ticking those things. I said, all these things have to be ticked before we agree on this price again. But I found out that they were not available. Everything I wanted was not just available. So it was as if everything was on demand. When you need it to go there, the price change, you pay extra. No, you can't work like this. If you work like this, you keep having abandoned projects because you get tired and you go back.
Yeah.
But that was our reality then. I was frustrated one day. I was talking to my colleague, now a co-founder, in the office, and I was telling him about what I was going through. And he laughed. He said, my dad is an architect, my brother is a quantitative surveyor, and this you are discussing is just like a daily bread in my house. This is what we discuss every day. I'm like, oh, I see. And it was only then that I realized that there was a potential. So I started trying to find out how big is the market, what is really happening here, who are those in the industry. And I found out that it was quite fragmented. We have a lot of old players still in the industry. And I said, okay, maybe we can innovate here. And that's where the idea started. And talking to a lot of professionals, developers, building contractors, I started seeing the gaps where we can fill and we can innovate. And maybe I should say, luckily for me, I just finished my PhD. I had already intended to start something on my own because the entrepreneurial thing is just on the blog. But I had to take a pause then because I wanted to tidy up my PhD before I moved into it. So it felt like I wanted to do something and then just pop up and I thought, maybe let's try with this. And yes, that's
fantastic. So you said your co-founder was once your colleague.
Yeah.
Right. So now co-founder disputes, right? When it comes to startups, is you know the statistic that says about 99% of startups fail in their first 5 years. What is even more interesting is about 50% or 60% of that number of startups that fail is because of co-founder disputes, right? Because many people go into this partnership thinking this person is my friend, my brother, my cousin, whatever. No matter the agreements, we'll find a way to sort these things out. And very often they ignore the aspect of having actual documents that define each other's responsibilities to the new venture. So based on that, how have you and your co-founder found a way to work together seamlessly such that both your skill sets complement each other?
Interesting. So I was just maybe lucky because I spoke with my colleague, and interestingly, it manages supply chain in Jumia. So just like what I was trying to do, he had like a skill set there. We had our CTO too, and our CTO was brought in by my co-founder now. And I think we've been able to gel very well. I think maybe primarily because when I understand my co-founder prior to this time. Then two, we had like a co-founder agreement at a very early stage.
Amazing.
And three, I think from the beginning we agreed that the collective interest supersedes ego. very early. And I think the fourth thing we agree on that one person is likely to have a say on certain things.
Yeah.
So when it comes to our tech, I give it to the tech guy.
Okay.
When it comes to supply chain,
Yeah.
I give it to my co-founder.
All right.
When it comes to sales,
Yes.
strategy, they give it to me.
That's
So
fantastic.
if you have to make a final decision,
Yeah.
I should be comfortable with what pertains to me.
Yes.
And remember, collective interest
Exactly.
proud to, before
I
everybody.
love that. And that already answers the next question I was going to ask of how do you guys resolve conflict? Okay, that is really amazing. So that you guys have gotten the idea. What were the first steps you took to bringing MaterialsPro to life? And the name MaterialsPro is a fantastic name. Seeing that,
thank you.
just hearing the name, you can almost guess what this business is into. Who came up with the name? And what was that process like?
So I think the name, I wouldn't say one person came up with the name
Alright.
because we were discussing
Yeah.
and we all know that this has to do with materials procurement.
Yes.
So it was just like short materials materials procurement by professionals, something like that.
Yeah.
It was very easy. So it was like we have materials procurement and we're just trying to look for a name and you can just eliminate some things and like, okay, this sounds very cute. Yes. And the second question.
Yeah, bringing the idea to life. Yeah.
So I'm quite big on research, maybe because of my
Yeah,
background.
exactly.
Yes. So when we wanted to start this, spoke to a lot of people. So from professionals, professional like stakeholders in the industry,
Yes.
like associations. I went to a lot of events that are doing the just observe what they do. See, they also have like their team every year,
Yes.
like topic. So you just understand, okay, what's the topic this year? And one thing that was very consistent then was inflation, cost. So you know that is a major problem.
Yes.
So then I was able to get clicked into the bodies
Right.
to find out okay, what is happening, what they're doing. And from my side, I was a client.
Yeah.
When this happened, I wasn't a professional. So I also understand that clients have their own
Exactly.
issues. So I had to speak with a lot of clients like myself. Luckily for me, at that stage, I had a lot of friends too that were dabbling into the same thing. So I had people that could easily engage.
Yes.
So I asked, okay, so when you try to do this, what did you observe? What happened? And what I said was just what everybody had. Like they all had their experience. Some of them were able to complete the project but with similar experience and like I almost abandoned it, if not for God.
Yes.
So, so we shouldn't be romancing this kind of pain. It's not nice. Then thirdly, we had stakeholders that we want to bring together. We also have to speak to the stakeholders, logistic partners, people that will use the tech, the OEMs, that's the manufacturers. Okay. So what are the challenges? How can we bring? So we did all of this at that time before we even come up with our MVP. But trust me, we got into the market before our MVP was launched. And that was because while we are still overanalyzing and preparing, one of the people that we spoke to during the customer development stage called us and said, okay, are you guys in the market now? We want this. Are you able to do this? And that also changed a lot of things because I would say when you're in the market, you realize that all those analysis you're doing may not even be it because the market tells you the reality. So some of those things we were waiting for to be able to launch it in the market, we found out that we don't even need it at that time because we successfully delivered on that particular order without some of the things that we were waiting for. And that just told us, guys, you should be in the market already.
Now. Exactly.
What are you waiting for?
Wow. Yeah. And this is especially when it comes to more technical businesses, right? We and like you guys were overanalyzing. It's very common with founders to overanalyze their product, and understandably so. You're entering a new venture. Capital is involved, which is always limited, right? Except you're BlackRock. Capital is always limited. Now, understanding the fact that no matter the kind of research you do, if you're not active in the market with your product to see how people react to your product and what they are interacting with, you cannot go as far as you want to.
Sure.
So it's very important for you to actually be in the market before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, this was, if I'm understanding time frame correctly, at the time the MVP went out, it was probably maybe late 2022, 2023.
2022.
Okay, 2022. Now, between then and now, what are some of the challenges that you've noticed in the market and in the company? So, internal challenges and external challenges that you've seen between then and now.
Okay, so I was, let me start with internal.
Yeah.
Internal, I think one of the first challenges you have if you're just coming in and you have limited resources is hiring the kind of talent that you want. Talent, yes. It's not very easy to convince people to come join you because they like to take a big cut.
Exactly.
So when you see founders, honestly, when I see founders and I see that they're relatively stable before they start their business, I usually give them a nod. Like, you guys have tried.
Yes.
Because you have to drop so many things.
Yeah.
You are living a very comfort zone to start something new. And you don't even know what to look like eventually. Right? So it's not very easy to see staff that want to join you on that train. Right? But I think we've been very lucky. What we did very early, after we realized that we may have a challenge, is to like create like an SOP.
Okay.
So we're able to train people as quickly as possible. So that when we bring you on board, you're able to put you to the kind of level that we want you to be.
Right.
So people are able to really develop themselves very quickly. You'll be amazed at the kind of responsibility the young ones can take if you give them the right platform. Yes, but external, I would say when you talk about supply chain, I think the first thing you talk about is infrastructure.
Exactly.
Good networks, you don't have control over that. Good networks, how you're able to move, what time you're able to move, because we use a lot of trucks, what time you're able to move, the prices and the rest. And it's a lot of inflation going on, price volatility. It will affect your business, but that's why we are here. And those are the things that we're trying to manage for construction professionals and clients, so that they can stay focused and do their best, which is to build.
So now speaking to infrastructure, I'll come to infrastructure. Actually, let me ask about this first. Human nature can be very erratic, right? And then this is because I've also had guests on the show who have spoken about their relationship with truck drivers and how frustrating it can be, right?
Yeah.
What is your own experience with dealing with truck drivers in Nigeria?
Yeah, so maybe first off, I'll first say that I've had a lot of experience with delivery guys. When I was in Jumia, you have delivery guys. Delivery guys, I will tell you to your face, my job is to drop this here. I don't have to take it there, right? And we've tried to manage them then.
Right.
So I know that it's very important to train anyone that would be the face of your delivery. That's a last mile delivery.
Yeah.
You can't take it out. Even when you're not directly involved with the last mile, trust that person that is doing that last mile is the face of the company somehow, because that's the person your client
that makes sense. Exactly.
So that training is very important. So at a very early stage, we were able to talk to the logistic partners and everything. So how much training do you give to your drivers?
Yes.
How can we manage them? We also find a way to manage them, incentivize them in a way so that when they behave, when the ratings are good, we get something. So all those things matter. And sometimes just to do spot check, I can put my number so that when you're going to call, you're going to be talking to me. So at least that gives me an idea of what you would do and how you will talk to my client. So when I have some certain clients, I will tell you this person should be the one that will do, because I've tested that person time and again, and I know that this person is able to manage those kind of deliveries very well. So, and that's what.
Fantastic. Yeah, you had mentioned training staff members. When you're hiring, right, what are some of the traits you look out for in a candidate? That if you see this, if you see that, if you see this, you can almost tell that this person is a fit for your company and the culture you're trying to build.
I would say a few things. I'm always very excited when I talk to candidates, and I find out that they have a bit of entrepreneurial background. I'm always excited. It's not a requirement. It's not a prerequisite, but I'm always excited because what that means is that you've seen things move from one space to the other, and you can take initiative. You know how it is to be able to do business. You understand. Some people you have people that can be after just my salary.
Exactly.
So, but when you see someone that have moved something from A to B, or it's A to B, you understand the process and you're able to appreciate the effort that is going into building in your space. I think the other thing is leadership. So if at any point in time you've taken any leadership position, I'm always excited because it means that you've developed the skill to manage people at one point or the other, and you will not be too scared to take up on responsibility. Because leadership, I tell people, is responsibility. It's not that tight to forget it. And if you do that at school level, trust me, your students will demand so much from you, and you'll be asking yourself, I need my grades, I'm here chasing things for you, and people are still talking to me anyhow. So if you can take in your skin then to do that, then you're likely to do it better in other space. I think the third thing I always want to do is to serve the person's mindset. I don't want someone that just want to earn salary. I want to say how much you want to go. It's okay if you want to go beyond the system. But I'm sure that if you want to go beyond the system, it means that you will do so well in the system, so that when you're going to the next stage, you are moving ahead of the system. So that makes me very comfortable. Changes happen, people move on, it's fine. I'm moving on when I have my moving out somewhere else. And they will tell me, There's something going on here.
Yes.
Call me, MaterialsPro should be here.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen already,
Yeah.
and I'm excited. So those few things,
Amazing. In terms of capital and expansion, I believe at the base rock of every business really is to scale to as far as you can. For MaterialsPro, what is it like? Are you considering institutional investors, or do you want to scale gradually as the business grows and revenue grows?
So I would say we're very lucky. When we started, we have like some venture funds that came in quickly, and we had used very well. But at the point in time last year, we wanted to raise, we had to slow it down because the market wasn't responding too well to fundraising.
Yes.
And that helped us a bit because it helped us say that we can do so much with being very sustainable with our business. The business is doing well, and we can see the growth. Fine, you may not be able to experiment the way you want because you don't have that loose fund. But in as much as your business can pay your bills and make you stable, it means that with or without institutional funding, you'll be in business. And when that institutional funding comes, you are able to accelerate your growth very well because you already have those things that are meant to be done. They end up on so much.
This is interesting because last year, 2024 and 2023. Okay, let me even backtrack a bit. At 2022, when checks were flying everywhere, yes, right, and valuations were crazy because there was FOMO and the African market was looking like this new shiny thing. So everyone was rushing to get a piece of the cake. A sort of mentality began to shape such that founders were no longer willing to build sustainable businesses. They were trying to build businesses to raise VC capital. So they were not necessarily overlooking the basics, the foundation of, are people paying for this thing, and will they always come back to this product or this service I'm offering them? So, but what the funding gap between 2023 and 2024 did, like is the case with you guys, is people sat back and said, okay, if fund is not coming, does it mean that we have to close shop?
Sure.
So we have to find a way to make the business work. And I've seen that is a huge shift, because I've also spoken to a VC recently that said they could not have been more happier about what happened in 2023 and 2024, because now they are seeing more valuable businesses in terms of great processes and efficiency, and people focusing on revenue other than vanity metrics like downloads and the likes. So in a way, that was there's a silver lining to that.
Sure.
Amazing. Looking ahead now, right? Nigeria as a country, doing business here is tough. Being a founder is tough. But being a founder in Nigeria sets the difficulty level to like max.
Sure.
Exactly. How have you been able to stay grounded when you look at the uncertainty around government policies? Like you mentioned, infrastructure. It doesn't feel like anything is going to be done anytime soon. When you look at all of all these things, how do you stay grounded and feel like, or understand that no matter how bad it gets, we are still going to keep going forward?
So I would say first that Nigeria is a very interesting market.
Yes.
Trust me.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes these economies of demand and supply, you'll be surprised that you'll just be wondering what's happening. You see price going up, and around that time you see demand also going up, and you'll be asking yourself what's happening. So maybe the first thing is, no matter how bad things are, if you're doing a business that is necessary, you would make your business. Business will go. You would sell. You will have your clients. Just do the right thing. Ensure that the processes are in place. Ensure that your clients are happy. Ensure that they get value for what they are paying for. Because what I notice now is that people are no longer loyal to any brand. If you're not giving me the value, I will move. Yes. So if you put the value on the table and ensure that people are paying for, they're able to get it. You will survive. So maybe for some items, for some industry, probably people can do it out. But housing is not one of them. Food is not one of them. Logistics is not one of them. So people will always do this. So just ensure that those things that you have promised to deliver on, you are able to deliver it, and you anticipate the change. You can't anticipate enough, but if you are on top of it, you are hearing the regulatory things coming, you will know what's likely to happen. So one interesting thing that we've been able to do to a lot of our clients who are B2B clients is that we anticipate price increase.
All right.
And I can say, with the trend, there's likely to be a price increase in March. We are hoping it doesn't happen.
Okay.
This is likely to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes we also ask ahead. We also put our ears down. We ask ahead. The manufacturers tells us, and let us know that maybe it's also time, maybe in like 3 weeks or like a month, there'll be a price change.
Yeah.
So what that means is that if you're a contractor and you're trying to put up a contract with your clients, we already give you this information ahead, and you are able to put that into your evaluation. Telling your client that, okay, so this is likely to happen.
Yes.
It may not happen. If it happens, this is my price. If it doesn't happen, it's your price. So we try to work with a lot of our customers. And we are big on information. We are big on sharing resources.
Yeah.
We are big on sharing trends. So if you do all of that, then your clients know that there's something that they are gaining from being part of your business.
Amazing.
Yeah.
As we wind down now, leadership is not easy. Especially when it comes to delegation. I feel like many leaders struggle, and it's understandable because you built this thing with your blood and sweat. And it's now time for you to begin to assign responsibilities to people. So naturally, you would want to ensure people are doing it as well as you are doing it.
Sure.
So delegation is always difficult. What has your experience been like leading a team and then having to delegate certain responsibilities?
So I would say my first rule when it comes to leadership is that I'm a servant leader. I lead by example.
All right.
So if you see me do things, I doubt you would sit down and do it. So I'm not someone that would say this is my job description, this is my role.
Yes.
If you see something lagging or if you see somebody drop the ball, please pick the ball. Pick the ball first before you come back to say
anything. Complain.
Yeah. So we take responsibility. It's a company culture. We take responsibility for everything. So it's been very easy to delegate. Though at a very early stage, you want to limit the number of things that you delegate. So for our clients at a very early stage, we want to be very close to our clients so that we can understand so many things. Because we are still building, we are still innovating. But we try to, but how much can you do if you don't delegate? So if as much as possible, things that I'm able to delegate, I do it. And I know that a lot of our staff have also gotten some things from our co-founders how we work, and they're able to do that. So when we delegate, what do we ensure? Communication.
Okay.
Staying close to timing. Yes. You say you want to deliver on something at a particular time, please deliver. If you have issues with it, say it ahead. Yeah. You don't want to tell me that when it's already due for you to deliver on those things. Being able to make good contribution. So if you see something that is not going on well, you quickly mention it. Yes. So you feel like you can do something and you mention it. But those things already give me signals that I can give you things. You can be responsible for things and you do it well. And the interesting thing is that we reward people that do that. I want people to be able to do that. So if you do that well, we reward you. Right. When you reward you, you're more motivated to do more.
So, and I just have to ask this question. What you guys do, it involves a lot of being on the ground, right? Where do you stand on hybrid work arrangements or remote work arrangements?
I think we do hybrid.
Okay.
Apart from our tech team, to full remote, we do a lot of hybrid. Because the industry that we are is quite traditional.
Right.
It's quite traditional.
Well, I was conflicted about
and we have a lot of moving parts. Right. So the sales team do hybrid. In fact, I can see me. I'm even fully on ground.
Yes.
There's nothing hybrid. There's nothing hybrid about the work for me. But the recent times, so many things have become like a fashion, right? And we have to follow the trend sometimes. But when it comes to your business, you need to know what works for you and what doesn't work. So if I'm talking to you and I said that you don't want to be on the field at all, then there's no point in maybe for some department that you can work for. Apart from our tech team, I think every person is great.
Fantastic. I'm rounding up now. How do you unwind, right? At the end of a very busy week, how do you relax and prepare for the week ahead?
So how do I relax? Interestingly, what's I call relaxation. People don't call it relaxation.
How so?
Because one, I love to teach.
Really?
I still teach. That's every opportunity to teach. I do that. and sometimes it makes me whine. Because when you put the practical aspect of business with the academic aspect of business, it means that when I talk, it's like I'm just relieving the whole stress and I'm giving examples and people are able to relate and I can see the faces. I love it.
Fantastic.
Right? Another thing I read, I read a lot and I still read it now. Just pick anything I say, I read it. But that's because I told my dad had books. So maybe not to write exams, but
just to be
then
impressed.
I'm also big on family.
Okay.
I have my family that's for my children.
Yes.
That at every point in time they're able to go out.
Right.
Yes, I do that. Then also nature. Try to walk, try to see nature, take pictures.
Amazing. Amazing. Last question. Advice to aspiring founders. What has worked for you that you feel others should know about and it could potentially help them along their own journey?
I would say entrepreneurship can be very glamorous. Some of us are there because we've always wanted to be there. So there's no way I won't do entrepreneurship.
You couldn't see yourself doing any other thing.
It's a no-brainer. In fact, I think a lot of people thought I went into entrepreneurship maybe late because people had seen that I would do this at a point in time. Maybe for my dad, I kept asking me the what if question. Like, you're doing well. Just finished your PhD. I was thinking you would do this. Why are you doing this? Maybe. But I would tell entrepreneurs to take it one step at a time. Focus on one, while you don't lose sight of the all. Because you can be very overwhelming what you want to achieve and you feel like you want to do everything at the same time. So that one thing at the time that you're doing is what makes the whole eventually. Then you can't have it all figured out. Only when you get into the market that you say that, okay, so many ideas change after you get into the market. You had planned like 2 years before you launch, and you get into the market and you're just 6 months into the market and you change everything that you have built in the last 6 months. So you have to be in the market as quickly as possible. When you get to the market, continue to listen to your customers. They are your best source of finance. Your customers are comfortable with you, they're happy with you. Trust me, that business, no matter how little it is, that business will continue to flourish. And I think most importantly is to be resilient.
Yes.
You can come with a lot of frustration, be resilient, be consistent. It's that consistency that's showing up even when you don't even know what's going to happen today. But just continue to show up. You're surprised at how many doors will open. And sometimes you say you're lucky, but you have prepared along the line and luck makes you along the line.
I was going to end it there, but no, I have to ask one more question. The real estate in Nigeria, we've been seeing a lot about how incredibly overpriced it is, especially for the kind of value clients perceive that they are getting. And this is a big issue, especially here in Lagos, right? Because I've seen people do a market survey and they've seen a certain property, let's say a 3-bed, for example, on the island and on the mainland, could vary very differently in terms of pricing and the I'm looking for a particular word, amenities surrounding the property. What do you think needs to change in Nigeria in terms of pricing for real estate?
So for me, I think I believe I believe one of the best ways to regulate, maybe not necessarily regulate or put some structure into this real estate pricing, is going to have rapid development going on in some developing areas. So the more options people have, the more we are not boxed into certain areas. So it's more like a demand and supply. Right? If everyone is chasing this apartment, trust me, if you had come today and you said it was 700K and you find out that like 10 other people have come to check this in apartment, you can come to one and somebody will tell you it's already 1 million. Now, but if you check here and it's 700K and you have like 10 other options, you can as well say, okay, I will go for the 300K. It means that people chasing this particular apartment are reduced to like 3. So I think we need to put a lot of infrastructure in places that are still developing, and the more we have comfortable apartments in these places, and the more we have good road networks that can take people from point A to point B, we'll have less pressure on those spaces that we're talking about, and it will make a lot of difference.
Fantastic. I'm forcing myself to end it here. Based on what you've said, another question came up, but I'll end it here. It's been amazing speaking with you, Ejide. Thank you for taking out the time.
Thank you for having me, Samuel. It's a pleasure to be here.
Amazing. That's been it on this week's episode, guys. Join us next week Thursday, and we'll have another amazing founder like Ejide share their experience building their products. You'll be listening to the Main Africa podcast. I'm your host, Kemeshi Samuel. And I'll catch you guys next week. Bye.